Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's April 9th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And we had a really nice uptrend, and then it reversed and took, this was a really nice downtrend as well, although most of the trades occurred. Most of the movement came after 2 o'clock, so I didn't mark any of these, but there were some nice setups over here if you wanted to trade this downtrend. Normally I don't mark any trades after 2 o'clock, so but sometimes you get moves like that after 2 o'clock. But it just gets a lot tougher to trade late in the afternoon, and if you make a mistake and you don't have time to make it back, and so generally my cutoff time is 2 o'clock. So that's the reason, if you haven't heard that explanation before, that's the reason I usually don't take any trades after 2 o'clock. So I usually don't mark any trades after 2 o'clock either. But there were plenty of trades early on. This is a really nice uptrend, and there were a few chances to get a few runners in here. Notice somebody asked me a few questions about runners earlier today, but notice where most of your runners come from. They come from this key entry points off this main trend line. You would have had a runner here, you would have had a runner here, probably here, definitely here. So there's several runners on here, but that's where your key entry points, where your main places you're going to get runners are your key entry points. So just keep that in mind. So if you're in a range like this, you may not you may not try to use runners. You may just scalp out. Or if it's a range type day, kind of going sideways like in here, you may not want to try to hang on to runners because most of them will get stopped out. But the key to catching these runners is on trend days off the key entry point. So just keep that in mind, and let's talk about the trades. But you can see it was, let me back out just a little more so you can see the full day. You wanted to measure this first leg up just in case you get a measured leg up. And notice we got to about that point and then kind of corrected before we went higher again. But really this was an uptrend type day until here, and then we just got a reversal. So, and it's interesting that we didn't really get an overshoot here. We really didn't get a break and a move to a new high, none of that. So that makes this a very interesting type reversal, because usually you're going to get a break and a move to a new high or an overshoot or something on a trend this strong before you get a reversal. But it didn't happen today. Something changed, and this thing sold off strongly. So basically what I tell people is just don't trade to the short side until you get a trend in another direction, and that was right here. And we'll talk about that when we get to it. But let me back out. We'll talk about the trades, and we'll wrap Monday up. But when I came in, we really were just kind of going sideways to correcting a little bit. We traded up into this, had a break, new high, and then we were kind of moving down. And so we were kind of looking for a possible retest here. But notice what's happening. You move up, you get a first entry short. You move up, you get a second entry. And that's a nice bearish bar. It went higher and then turned and went out the other side. I would wait on this bar. You could go short there since it's a second entry, but I'd probably wait on that bar and see if it closes like that. And if it does, I'm willing to go short there. You got a failed second entry long here and another chance for a short here, but by that time you had this range working sideways across here, and I just don't like going short right there, even though that's a really big bar too. So you're better off just to kind of wait and see what happens, and we just end up chopping sideways before it goes lower. You get a really nice bearish bar here, but it's right back into those lows again. And then you get another one here that might have been okay. It gives you enough room, but the bar's not bearish enough, and you get a nice little move down, but then you get that reversal. So you're coming down, you get a close outside, move to a new low, and then notice what happens. You make a new low, first entry, you push up, you get a second entry short and a nice bullish bar. I like going long there, and maybe you'll catch that next leg up that I showed you here. And that puts you up till here. And of course, if you'd have caught this, you would have caught that next leg up. And this turns out to be a really nice move up right here. And you probably should have had a runner right there if you played that one properly. Then you pull back and you get another bounce right off that trend line. And notice you got a little trend working down. You get a close outside. You get two little pushes down and it bounces right off that trend line. I like going long there. Nice bullish bar. You get a higher low right here, and then notice you made a new low here, so that's a second entry. Then you get that little turn down, and so you get a failed second entry short. Yet another chance to go long right there, and off it goes. It goes right back to the other side. Then we're working sideways, and you'd like to really see it get back to this trend line before you look for an entry, but this is a clear range across here. And notice you get a nice bullish bar near the low, and this is an uptrend as well. So that's where you want. That's a good place to enter. You may not get anything but a scalp because you might continue to go sideways. But in this case, guess what? You get a freebie here, and you get another run off to the upside. And this is a double bottom here. And let me make this a little bit bigger. It's kind of hard to see. But this is a double bottom, so you can count this as a new low, or moving up. You get a first entry short, a second entry short. It fails, you get another bullish bar. And it's really right there off that first couple of bars there. And so I like going long again there, just on that trap. And you're looking for it just to come back to the upper side, and that's kind of where it goes. You actually get another push higher here, but you don't get a setup. Then it comes back. And I marked this one. Notice that swing low is lower than that one. If you move that out of the way, you can probably see it. So there's a little swing in there. And so that's a new low, swing low, and then you get a first entry short, a second entry short, and it bounces right off the EMA, the trend line, another bearish bar. So I like going long there. And again, it takes off. You get a little second entry there, but not a very good setup. And then we come back, all the way back to the main trend line again. It bounces to the tick, and notice you're working down. You get a close outside, move to a new low. This is also congestion here, a little drop lower. So another reason to enter there, several different reasons to go long there. And again, this one takes off, so you would have had another runner. Notice that there's a second entry long right here, and it would have worked. You could have taken that long, but notice how we're just kind of going sideways, and there's a lot of stems on both sides. And so that's very congestive there. So I'm not crazy about that one. It would have worked there. If you want to be super aggressive, you might take that one, but I think you're better off to skip it, even though it still worked. This was the better place to wait and try to enter, and off it goes. Then notice what happens once again. You got a new low, and you got a first entry. You move up, you get a second entry short, then you go higher. Another easy place to go long. You only get a scalp out of that one, but you would have hoped that it would go to the upper side again, but doesn't matter. Quick, easy scalp. It fits the rules. And then guess what? We just start going sideways till you get back to the trend line, and it bounces right off the trend line again. But you also get a little failed break lower that goes lower, and then it hits the trend line and bounces. I like going long right there. And another nice move up to a new high, and then that's when the when the sell-off happens. And you know, there's no real fake out here that would have probably got you. You just kind of, there is a second entry short right here, then you might expect a second leg down since that one was so bearish, but that bar's too bullish, and then this bar's way too big, and it's you know, it already makes a new low there. So draw your trend line off of it and see if you see what happens. And then of course it comes back, verifies that trend line, gives you a nice bearish bar. So I like going short right there. And you get a lower high right here, a little breakout pullback short. And so that's a lower high and another big bearish bar. So I like going short there again. We're still inside this trend line. Everything's looking good. It's a little breakout pullback short as well. And then of course we bounce. And notice what happens. You're moving up. You get a first entry. You get a close outside that little trend line. Move to a new high, and you get a second entry right there. So I like that one. Again, it's easy. I mean, it works for an easy scalp, but it comes back up, It does make a lower high here, so you wouldn't have got a runner here. And you just really don't get a setup to go short there. You might consider this one right here, let it break below it and drop a limit order back here. Of course, it's after 2, so I didn't mark anything else. I did mark that one because it's right at the 2 o'clock hour. So sometimes if you get a really good setup right in that first 10 or 15 minutes, I'm okay with it. And, this one is just too much sideways here and very large bar by the time it sets up. Again, you might let it break lower and drop a limit order back up here and see if it'd come back. And it's questionable if you would have got filled on it. Possible, but questionable. And of course the bottom drops out of it and it just takes off. And that's a huge move for the afternoon that late in the day. So it was a relatively quiet day until late this afternoon when, the volatility is not really bad here. This is kind of it's a nice uptrend and we're getting a lot of movement, but your bars are more reasonable. There's not a lot of crazy volatility until this afternoon when it just seems like it just decided to reverse and took off. I'm sure they'll come up with some news item. Doesn't matter what the reason is. And maybe something came out. I saw something about investigating Trump on one of his lawyer or something, and so that could add something to do with this. Who knows? We don't care about that. If you follow the price action, you're going to get your notice that it's reversing, and this was pretty obvious. You didn't need anybody to tell you that, hey, the market's reversing. The price action is very clearly telling you that. And it could just be a correction long enough before it starts going higher again, but it didn't turn out to be the case today. You got a little correction in here, and then you got another trend down. You can see that other trend right in there. And it fits all the way down there. See how it looks on the other side. We never got back down there again. But there's a clear channel working lower there again in the afternoon. So just seemed like a much more clear day and not as much volatility as we have been having until the afternoon. So that could change again. But hopefully you had a good day today. When you get a trend like this, try to stay with it until you get a reversal or something changes, and that wouldn't have happened until right here when you got your confirmation of this downtrend line. And then it would have been safe to go short. So that's what I always tell people. Rather than trying to pick these tops and bottoms, wait till you get a confirmed trend in the opposite direction and then try to go short. And then try to start trying to trade the other way. And that would have been right here when that trend line got confirmed on the third touch with a nice bearish bar. So anyway, that's what I saw today. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to wrap it up. It's a nice day out today, and I'm going to leave here early. But yeah, we'll be back again to do it tomorrow, but I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.